I think you should. If there's somebody you don't know, please don't leave. Your Excellency, the Australian High Commissioner just met Philip Kisia and Dr. Farouk Chowdhury, my friend, the High Commissioner of Cyprus, call it Kypros. I greeted him, Kalispera. That's like my second country, and thank you, Your Eminence, for coming. Thank you all. These are my reflections. Of course, they can't be exhaustive. But before I do make a few remarks in that regard, I just received a telephone call from Fred Matiangi. He was supposed to be here, and our brother Senator Richard Onyonka, are you still there? Senator Richard, he's right there. Please come so people see this tall, kissy man. There's something trending in the social media. Remember that speech. And it was amazing. Thank you, Richard, for being here. Our brother Fred has asked you to be here because he's on a long call with the World Bank in Washington. He's still out there until later in the year. And our friend Rigathi Gachagua could be on the way. And so let me start also by apologizing. In fact, that we have my sister Sally Kosgei's name on the printed list, printed program. I was meant to have gone to have tea with her before coming here. And I think my team were very, very excited that Dr. Sally Kosgei, who has worked for me for longest in the world of diplomacy, would have wanted to be here. And I'm sure after this, I'm going for my cup of tea with Sally. So, as I listened to my colleagues and friends, I was wondering whether they are talking about me, actually. Yeah, look at you. Were you really talking about me? A guy from Muna in Sekuru. After Manyora last Sunday, we all decided the next stop should be Sekuru. There's a village called Muna. And Muna actually means when you get to Muna, you get completely helped. You turn around. Your fortunes turn around. It's always nice to hear positive feedback from friends and colleagues, and I truly well appreciate it. I'm thrilled to see all of you here tonight. You've endured both Nairobi's traffic and weather. Nairobi weather is becoming like British weather. You meet a British man, they ask you, how is the weather today? Nairobi weather is becoming pretty much like the British weather. Thank you for trying, and you've all made it. That's your decision to join me this evening. Speaks volumes. Your Excellencies, party leaders, members of Parliament, members of the 4th and 5th Estates, dear friends, colleagues, and family. A month ago, on April the 10th, I quietly marked 20 years of diplomacy and 40 years of political dialogue. You've seen, you've seen that. My head was full of good hair when it started. To my wife Pauline, who is watching, thank you for being my life partner and my soulmate. You are the perfect description of that lady in Proverbs 31:25, 28. She is clothed, I quote, with strength and dignity. She can love as the days to come, at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. My wife Pauline, those of you know, have been really hard working at the central bank for so many years. She's now retired, but she makes sure, even from her sick bed, the young ones behave. I'll very shortly point out some of them to you. To you guys present, my sons and my daughters, Kennedy and Doreen. Where are you? Kennedy and Doreen? Out there. All right. Kevin, is Kevin in the house? We're supposed to get here. He has a big day on Saturday. He's getting wedded to Sharon. Not Victor Swanya's Sharon got married, but to Sharon. my daughter Damari and my son Martin. I don't know whether they are here. They must be trying to get here. Some of you remember that Damari got married in December to that wonderful young man from Kirinyaga, Martin Nyaga. And Klein, who has been jumping around here. Klein Mairu. Where's Klein? Yeah. You know, Klein, I want to say this. As I said before, I went to Parliament a bachelor. And I had a very, very difficult decision to make because I wanted to get married very quickly in 85. My sister, when I appeared before you, looked timid. I'm not quite sure whether I was married yet because I was not in Parliament. I was still a bachelor. So these young people have known just a political father. But balancing these things can be very difficult. When I made the decision to join elective politics 40 years ago, as I mentioned, it was not even 40 years because I lost in 1983 at the snap election, as you may have seen. And people thought I was like a mad young man. But then I'm reminded of the TikTok conversation we had a few days ago. If you hear somebody, a man or woman, saying, I'm not mad, please notice, those are the first signs of mental illness. My armor at the time consisted of God's cloak, a law degree, my soon-to-be wife, and life partner Pauline, and a burning desire to accomplish something worthwhile for my people. I stress my people because my world then was people of Kitui North. The previous speakers, as well as the documentary, have highlighted many facets of my diplomatic experience and political discussion. As a result, I will not belabor them any further. Nonetheless, I would like to thank everyone whose faith and conviction in my abilities propelled me to this incredible position. I will always be grateful for the privilege to serve for 28 years as Member of Parliament of Kitui North, as it then was, and Mwingi North, the longest serving after Presidents Daniel Arap Moi and Mwai Kibaki, as Minister in 5 substantial decades, as an Assistant Minister under the guidance of 2 great servants of our Republic, the late Honorable Ken Matiba and the late Honorable Justice Oletipis. As the youngest Deputy Speaker in Parliament, and of course subsequently, as we all know, as the 10th Vice President of our country. Your Excellencies, friends of Kenya, colleagues, the 4th and 5th estates, Kenya is currently at a crossroads, much like it was 5 years ago when I was first elected to Parliament. 40 years ago, I beg your pardon, when the repeal of Section 2A of the then existing Constitution of Kenya brought about a multi-party democracy. In 2002, when the NARC wave swept the ruling party, and the mother has just pointed out, I was the longest organizing secretary of KANU for 12 years. I wish my brother Gideon Moi was here. I don't think he must have been a toddler. From 59 years of power. KANU was in power for 59 years. And the late President Kibaki famously was quoted as saying, bringing down KANU was like cutting the famous Kikuyu Mugumo tree with a razor blade. It can't happen. But it happened. And in 2000, when that happened, Kenyans were regarded as the most optimistic people in the world. And in 2008, when the violence following the 2007 election set off the most difficult events in post-independence Kenya, destabilizing and bringing to a standstill a nation state known until then as the oasis of peace in a turbulent region. Then diplomatic tact was required by the local and international political players of the times to get Kenya back on its track to its long vision path to socio-economic prosperity, free from hunger and disease. Our sister Mother Karua again was there with Kofi Annan-led peace process. The same is required, I dare say, now more than ever before. On June 25th, a day I call J25, Kenya's working class, young men and young women with pay stubs came to the streets in peaceful protest against the harsh finance bill 2024 and an impeached parliament. Actually, they did impeach the parliament. Kenya's youth are particularly concerned about the ruling elite's excesses, which included poor administration marked by tribalism, by nepotism, and rampant corruption. The tech-conscious, digitally savvy, and woke, quote-unquote, generation were astounded by leaders who loudly and at every opportunity said, I quote again, tighten up your belts. Kenya's coffers are empty, end of quote. While posting outrageously opulent lifestyles on social media and accruing more frequent flyer miles than road trips to their constituents. Using social media platforms, the likes of X, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Telegram, and TikTok, they rallied behind the hashtag Reject Finance Bill 2024 and urged their parliamentary representatives to vote against the bill. It is my opinion that this tech-savvy and socially conscious youth irrevocably transformed the political, socio-economic discussion in our country forever. Their diplomatic tact of actively exercising their constitutional rights, specifically Articles 1 and 37 of Kenya's constitution, that is, and I want to quote under Article 1, Sub-Article 1, which states all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this constitution, end of quote. And subsection 2 states that the people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives, end of quote. Further, under Article 37, every person has the right to peaceably and unarmed to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, and to present petitions to public authorities. This call to action was keenly watched and followed by millions worldwide. It inspired many movements in Africa and around the world. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the unnecessary and disproportionate increment in the use of excessive force by Kenya's police service should be a concern to all of us. During the protests in 2023 and in 2024, over 125 young Kenyans lost their lives to police bullets. Up to date, no security officer has been charged and or prosecuted. The victims' families are yet to receive any form of justice. There is also a sharp increase in kidnappings and abductions. The brother, the Speaker, J.B. Muturi, and immediate former Minister for Public Service, Attorney General, a distinguished Kenyan, had to shout so that his dear son could be released. He kept on asking, how about those parents who were not as fortunate as he was? And their kids are still missing, some of them even as we speak today. That 4 young men could be tracked just a few days ago and taken into custody by the security services because of the BBC Africa Eye documentary, Blood Parliament, clearly demonstrates increased authoritarianism in this country against anyone deemed to have a different view, regardless of age. I urge the international community, and I want to use the plural here, we urge the international community here represented, who honor their values and commitment to the promotion of universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms, as stated in the preamble to the UN Declaration of Human Rights, to join us in condemning these acts and demanding an immediate cessation of human rights abuses and systemic oppression. Your Excellencies, friends of Kenya, and members of the media, the reconstruction of the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, IBC, is another major point of concern to us.